The great theologian, Groucho Marx, said, "In the beginning there was nothing, and God said, 'Let there be light.'" Can we see that screen, that picture? And there was still nothing, but you could see better. Today, next screen. Today we have two creation stories, one from the Old Testament and one from the New Testament. I don't know if you knew, there's 3 creation accounts in the Bible. Our creeds are based on these 3 accounts. A lot of people say, "Oh, we don't like creeds, we just like the Bible." Well, the creeds get their information from the Bible. With the Nicene Creed, it says, "We believe in one God, the Father Almighty, maker of heaven and earth, of all that is, seen and unseen." And then in the Apostles' Creed, "I believe in God, the Father Almighty, creator of heaven and earth." I like all the creeds and the Bible and the creation accounts, but I think most people's favorite is the first one, the one with all the days. And many Bible scholars believe that this first account was originally a hymn or a song. Back before everybody could read, when you had an oral society, one of the ways they communicated with people is they'd have information and they put it into a song. So that way it was more interesting to listen to, and it was easier to remember. It's kind of like songs today, actually when I was growing up there was a lot of ballads, songs with stories, and I really miss that. I wish we had more songs like that. Today, a lot of the youth like this artist, Kendrick Lamar. He's a rap artist, and like my son said, he likes his songs because they have meaning and purpose, and they make a statement. And that probably makes their lyrics a little easier to understand. Plus, I think they like the shocking, irreverent language as well, which most youth are usually drawn to. Don't worry, I'm not playing any Kendrick Lamar this Sunday. But speaking of songs that have meaning and purpose for our lives, there we have the first creation account with none of the bad language. Can we have the next screen? I think it especially has order and meaning and purpose for us today. I was thinking of how chaotic our world is these days. We have hurricanes, we have earthquakes, we have floods, we have fires, we have wars and threats of wars, we have nuclear weapons, we have terrorists, and then we have the regular stuff, like illness and injuries and struggles in relationships, not to mention the worst of all, construction. This creation account, this song, offers us order and structure to creation. It doesn't spell out everything. It speaks in some generalities, but there's a rhythm to it. There was evening, there was morning the first day. There was evening and morning the second day, the third day, the fourth day, the fifth day. One of the scariest things in life is the unknown. We even say, it's better the devil you know than the devil you don't know. Because the devil you don't know, the things that you don't know are the things that scare us the most. I don't know that the creation story gives us a step-by-step plan of how to create a world. And I'm not sure it literally tells us how God created the world step by step. We believe and we confess that God created the world and everything we see, everything we don't see. The creation story doesn't exactly spell all that out, but it does speak to God's purpose and God's plan. One purpose and plan for creation seems to be to form a relationship with God's creation, especially with us. It speaks about how God feels about the creation that God made, especially us. The next screen. God saw everything that God created, and it was very good. That's what God thinks. My last weekend got together with family, and I was talking with my niece and talking about her new home. And they had put a bid on a house and that they really, really liked, and they didn't get it. And they were very disappointed. And then they found another house, and they did purchase it. And as she was talking to me, she said, this one's nicer, newer, it's in a slightly better neighborhood, and it's a little cheaper. And in hindsight, she said, I believe everything happens for a purpose. And for her, the purpose, the reason, was that she got a nicer house. There are times in our life where we look back on things and we can see what we believe is God's hand leading us through everything and putting everything in place. And then there's times where it doesn't even matter how long we have, we can't see why things happen. We can't see any rhyme or reason or purpose, especially when it's not good, especially when really bad things happen like hurricanes and earthquakes and fires and death. Why did this happen? For example, a week or so ago, why did the hurricane go above Houston and stay there for so long? What is the purpose? What's the purpose of this hurricane coming through now? The creation story doesn't answer all these questions, but it does give us structure and meaning and purpose. So we can look back at times of chaos or think in times of chaos and look around us and look for maybe there's a meaning, maybe there's a purpose. And sometimes there seems like there isn't any. But it still reminds us of how God feels about creation, especially us. God is well pleased. Next picture. God made us. God looked around at everything that God created and thought, it's very good. It's not perfect. It's not done. As God told the animals and the vegetation and us, be fruitful and multiply, I think that's beyond, numbers. It's about us developing, becoming a better community, a better society, taking care of everything. In uncertain times, we can count on the fact that we have a God that wanted us, that created us. Whenever I meet someone that is adopted, I tell them, you're really fortunate. Your parents chose you. Now, I know many of us say that, we know that our parents wanted to have children and had us, and that's real good. But I think adopted parents, they didn't have to take the adopted child. They chose. God didn't have to create this world. God didn't have to create us. But God chose to create us. And God loves us and cares for us. And as Tina says, will go with us day by day, whether we go to school, whether we go to work, whatever we're doing in good times and in bad. God created us and loves us. Thanks be to God. Amen.